you doing this week?
I'm okay.
I'm glad you came back. Last week we kind of had a doozy of a session. We kind of talked about a lot of things and kind of broke down the shell of why you're not doing things, and the lack of motivation, the anger, the sadness, the feeling of abandonment. We kind of talked about a bunch of things.
Mm-hmm.
And we also talked about, and I gave you homework last week, about, because you said that how you don't feel that your kids would be acting out if your husband was still there.
Mm-hmm.
You don't like having to be the disciplinarian. And you're sticking to still the same role that you were when you were married. You're the nurturer, you're the woman, you're the mom, you did everything right and you don't understand why it's happening. So I give you a homework assignment of thinking about how you discipline your boys and how they react. And I just asked you to think about that. So did you notice this week when you discipline them, how you discipline them and how they reacted?
Yeah, I mean, I'll take away cell phones or not let them go out, or my youngest out with friends. But then now he's just threatening to go to his dad's house, and that his dad lets him do whatever he wants. And so I just tell him if he wants to go and stay with the dad, that they had to work it out amongst the two of them. And, I kind of just put it in his court. So I don't know if he's talked to his dad or not, but that's kind of where we're at right now.
So how do they react when you take away cell phones?
They get mad. I mean, he wanted to get in my face, but knew that probably wasn't the best move, so he just walked away. But, it's kind of hard because I know he is affected by the divorce, and that's kind of a way for him to escape the situation and kind of just be able to communicate with his friends so he doesn't have to think about it. And so I feel guilty about taking that outlet away from him, but at the same time, I can't tolerate him not respecting me or my house rules. So it's just kind of like a catch-22 where, I feel guilty when I do discipline him because I know he's going through the same hardship as me, just in a different way. In addition to, I can't not discipline him either. So it's just been difficult because it just affects my sadness even more because, I don't have that good relationship with my son. So it's just making everything even worse.
Well, it sounds like he still does respect you because he wanted to hit you and get in your face, but he didn't. You couldn't do that. So there is still respect there, which is good. It's really good. And it's good that you're stepping up and taking things away and showing them that, hey, these are the rules of the house, you got to respect them. And that you're giving them options. It's really good that you're giving them options. And I also, you said that your kids are being affected by this as well, and they talk to their friends about it. Do you talk about this with them?
Not really. I don't even know where to start. I don't know how to approach it. They haven't approached me about it. They'll just make slick comments about the situation, but I'm the one who left. So it's just ridiculous.
What kind of comments do they make?
Just about how I'm lazy and how, they would be able to have what they want if I could get up off the couch and get a job. And it's just I didn't ask for any of this. So, I don't know why they think that this is all my fault. I'm not the one who left. So
I know in the first session we talked about how your kids were concerned about you, that your kids were concerned that you weren't showering. Sometimes we'd be still in your pajamas all day long, and you kind of just lost your motivation. So is it out of concern that they're angry with you now, do you think?
No, I think they're concerned with me at first. My oldest is still concerned, but I think my youngest is just thinking all about himself now. And I think he's just more angry because when their dad first left, I think they felt bad for me, but now that he's out of the picture, now it's I'm the sole focus. And so that compassion that was there at first has just completely diminished.
I don't want to focus too much on your boys because that's not the main reason why we're here.
Mm-hmm.
But I would maybe recommend seeing a family therapist so that you and your boys can talk about things and you guys can all three get out your anger.
Mm-hmm.
And in a healthy environment, and they can actually talk to you and with another person, just sit there and talk to you about what they're feeling and why they're upset and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
If that's something that you're willing to do, then let me know, and I will absolutely refer you to somebody. I can't do it myself because I'm seeing you, and you're my client right now, but I will absolutely refer you guys to somebody. Would that be something that you might be interested in?
As long as my insurance covers it.
Okay, we'll look into that.
Okay.
All right. Last week we talked about how to cope and how to balance with things.
Mm-hmm.
You gave me some events that frustrate you and your automatic thoughts. Like you said, your boy's not getting along. That's one event that makes you think. Your automatic thought is, this wouldn't be happening if my husband were here. Your emotions are anger and sadness. Does that still ring true?
Mm-hmm.
So what are your behaviors like when you get angry or sad because your kids don't listen to you? What's the behaviors like?
I mean, if they're just arguing amongst the two of them, I just go into my room and just ignore it because I don't want to deal with it. Like, I don't want to play referee, you know? I'm just tired of it. So I just let them hash it out how they want to.
Is that something that you do prior?
Yeah, because my husband used to handle them because he didn't want me to get hurt if they were, like, you know, in each other's faces or something. So I never had to deal with it.
So what would be a rational response to them arguing?
Just tell them to stop.
Do you think you can do that?
Yeah.
Scale of 1 to 10. 1 being, I don't think I can. 10 being, I think I could possibly do that.
Probably 7.
That's pretty good.
7 or 8.
All right. So maybe next time they argue, you can tell them, hey, we don't do that. Stop. And see what happens.
They'll probably just ignore me, but I can try.
Hey, that's a start. That's a big start. Like, trying to do something about it. That's good. All right, you said the second event that we discussed last time was divorce, that you did everything right, but he still left.
Mm-hmm.
And your emotions are anger, sadness, and a little bit of abandonment.
Mm-hmm.
And is this kind of one of the reasons why the lack of motivation? The not getting dressed all the time, not doing anything?
It's just kind of like, if I wasn't good enough for him, how will I be good enough for someone else? How will I ever get hired? Like, I mean, clearly I don't know why he left me, so it's something that I don't see within myself, so how am I supposed to work on something that I can't even see?
All right, so we're just going to focus on if I'm not good enough for him, how will I be good enough for anyone else? Is that rational?
I mean, it's the most realistic conclusion.
It's realistic because it happened. What happened is he left. It doesn't mean that it's your fault. Do you think that it's your fault that he left?
No.
So, you saying, if I'm not good enough for him, then how can I be good enough for anyone else? Does that make sense with it's not your fault he left?
I mean, if I'm not good enough for him, then, you know, he's just going to leave, and I can't keep him here if he doesn't want to be here. So if he found somebody else, which I think is what happened, then, you know, that's not really my fault.
is he good enough for you? If he left, was he good enough for you?
He's not good enough for me now, but he was when he was there. That's why it's all taken me by surprise. Because, you know, there was no warning. He never brought up any kind of conflict. He didn't communicate anything. You know, I'm still working. I'm still, you know, managing the household and, like, doing everything. So, you know, we didn't really have conflict. So who knows what he was doing while I was managing the house and making sure that my sons made it to baseball and football practice. So, you know, that's a lot of time of me not being there. So really, I think he was just cheating the whole time while I was being supportive for our sons. So if he wants to go to the next young thing walking around, then, you know, that's not my fault. But clearly I wasn't good enough for him anymore.
But you were good enough that you supported your boys,
Mhm.
and you were their cheerleader.
Mhm.
You were the nurturer. You worked, and he didn't communicate with you.
Mm-mm.
You did everything right. You said. So, do you think that if I'm not, do you think that if I'm not good enough for him, it's rational?
I mean, I may not have been good enough for him, but I might have been good enough for my sons. Because he probably feels like I gave my sons more attention than him.
So I'm going to flip-flop this situation on you real quick.
Mhm.
Just bear with me. If your husband paid as much attention to your boys as you did,
Mhm.
would you feel jealous that he wasn't spending time with you?
Maybe.
Would you let him know?
Yeah, I would have told him.
So, him not communicating to you is nothing that you did wrong. It's something he did wrong.
Yeah, because, I mean, if he had an issue, he should have just told me, because I tell him everything.
So if I'm not good enough for him, is that a good way is that the way you're thinking now? Can we change that? Can we alter that?
I don't think so, because if I was good enough, he would be here.
But we just discussed that he didn't communicate with you. If you were in his shoes and you were feeling jealous, and I don't know how he's thinking or what he's thinking, but if you were thinking something, you would communicate.
Mhm.
So it's not your fault he left. It's his miscommunication or his lack of communication with you.
Mhm.
Would you say that's right?
Mhm.
Okay. 13. All right. Well, I just kind of want to go over. I'm going to go over a new sheet with you. I'm going to give you a homework assignment, and you're going to have you write things down. Is that okay?
Mhm.
All right. What we're going to do next week is the weekly activity. I kind of want to see what you're doing, when you're doing it, and how much you're mastering the art, or how much you're enjoying it.
Mhm.
And maybe that can even mean you're scheduling things.
Mhm.
So that, because you said you have lack of motivation, well, let's find something to motivate you.
Mhm.
So every day next week till you see me, write down what you do, like what time you wake up, and if you mastered waking up that time, and if you got dressed, and if on a scale of 1 to